Chennedy Carter has just received a taste of her own medicine.
With Carter denied by the backboard. And taken away, unverified. Oh. And they're going to wave it off with the foul.
Now, this is what you call poetic justice, isn't it? Sometimes the basketball gods have a sense of justice that no referee could ever call. With 4 minutes left in the game against the Connecticut Sun, Carter goes for a move, and in a split second, Karma decides to settle an old score. A shove by Alyssa Thomas sends Angel Reese to the floor and lands her directly on Chennedy Carter's leg. The result? A foot injury that sidelined Carter for 4 games and ultimately led to her exit from the WNBA to play overseas in China.
Because Carter was on the ground.
Tough break for Chicago.
This wasn't just a freak accident. This was karma coming full circle for a player who thought she could bully her way through the WNBA. To understand what I mean, we have to go back to June 1st, the day Chennedy Carter tried to take down the most electrifying rookie in women's basketball history. Back to the story in a second. Before we continue, kindly like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Back to the story. Clark's rookie season has been a headline grabber, and her performances have put every team on notice. But instead of stepping up her game, Carter decided to go low, literally. During the third quarter of that game, Carter delivered one of the most unnecessary, unsportsmanlike hits we've seen this season. As Clark prepared for an inbounds play, Carter slammed her shoulder into her, knocking her to the floor.
Good. Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench. And then the lay from Boston as the officials are gonna...
It was a cheap shot, plain and simple. Nothing remotely resembling a basketball play. And if that wasn't bad enough, Carter had the audacity to yell something at Clark as she walked away, with Angel Reese celebrating from the bench like a proud instigator.
A foul which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter.
The referees somehow decided this was only a common foul. Let that sink in. Clark, the most important rookie to grace the league in years, was blindsided and taken down, and all Carter got was a slap on the wrist. The lack of accountability from the officials was bad enough, but Carter's behavior in the aftermath made things even worse. When asked about the foul during the post-game interview, she flatly refused to answer questions about Clark.
Yeah, I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
But to make matters even worse, after the interview, Carter decided to run her mouth on social media, letting the world see just how bitter she really is. Besides three-point shooting, what does she bring to the table, man? Carter posted on X, inferring that Caitlin Clark is just a one-trick pony. Wait, what? Imagine calling a player of Clark's talent a one-trick pony, someone who's breaking records and dominating games left, right, and center. It was petty, unprovoked, and downright embarrassing from Chennedy Carter.
But what we're seeing, but not generalizing, not by every WNBA player, but by some, I believe Chennedy Carter in that specific incident, is envy. Because post-game, when you go to the presser and you don't want to answer questions about Caitlin Clark, why?
Carter didn't stop there. She liked posts accusing Clark of flopping, because apparently being slammed to the ground by a shoulder check now qualifies as acting. She retweeted comments calling her the owner of Caitlin Clark, which is ironic considering Clark has done nothing but shine, while Carter's career has been defined by drama and underachievement. Just days before the infamous shoulder check incident, Carter was throwing a fit over her placement on ESPN's list of the top 25 WNBA players. Ranked 24th, Carter took to Instagram and X to vent her frustrations, writing, "How I average less minutes and my stats top in the league, but I am at the bottom. This isn't adding up." Here's the thing. Many players probably weren't thrilled about their rankings. Caitlin Clark, for example, was ranked just 15th, despite being in the top 3 for MVP odds. But did Clark or other players take to social media to air their grievances? No. They let their play do the talking. Carter, however, made it everyone's business to know how upset she was, and maybe that's why she didn't rank higher, not because of her stats, but because of her attitude. Carter's ego has been a problem throughout her career. Let's not forget her history. Drafted 4th overall in 2020 by the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended in just her second season for conduct detrimental to the team. She was then traded to the Los Angeles Sparks, where her time was cut short due to, you guessed it, poor behavior. After being waived and taking a year off, she returned to the WNBA this season with the Chicago Sky. But instead of using this as a chance to rebuild her reputation, she decided to pick a fight with the league's biggest star. And who is Caitlin Clark? She's not just any rookie. She's a phenomenon, a transcendent talent who's changed the trajectory of the WNBA in a single season. She's drawing record-breaking crowds, inspiring young players across the country, and proving that women's basketball is just as thrilling, competitive, and worth watching as the men's game. She's elevating the league in ways that no one else has. But instead of respecting Clark or even just keeping her head down, Carter made herself the face of jealousy in the WNBA. Her actions, her words, her social media antics, they all screamed insecurity. It was clear she couldn't handle the spotlight shining on someone else, so she tried to tear Clark down. And that's where karma came in. Just a few games after the shoulder check incident, Carter found herself on the receiving end of bad luck, or divine justice, depending on how you look at it. We watched the clip earlier. As things stand, she's now heading overseas to play in China, as the Chicago Sky have refused to offer her a new deal. This is a clear sign that her time in the league, at least for now, is over. While Clark continues to dominate, inspire, and grow her legacy, Carter is leaving the stage in disgrace. Now, let's be real. This isn't just about basketball, it's about character. Caitlin Clark could have retaliated after the foul. She could have lashed out at Carter in the media or on social media, but she didn't. When asked about the hit, Clark basically said that even though the foul was not a basketball play, she's got to play through it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just just respond, calm down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game.
Well, that right there is the mark of a true professional. Clark didn't stoop to Carter's level. She rose above it, focusing on what truly matters: her game, her team, and her legacy. Only the inaugural players of 1996, legends like Lisa Leslie, could even come close to the cultural impact Clark was making. She's drawing record-breaking crowds, inspiring young players, and proving that women's basketball is as thrilling and competitive as any sport out there. She's the kind of player who changes the game, who creates opportunities for everyone around her, fans, teammates, even her opponents. But instead of respecting that, Carter chose to target her. Even NFL star LaShawn McCoy saw through the tactics. "The commissioner needs to step in," he said, comparing Clark's potential impact to Michael Jordan's. "They're hating on the wrong person." Now, some might say this is just the nature of sports. Physical play and trash talk, they are all part of the game. But let's be clear, what Carter did wasn't about competition. It was about insecurity. She saw the spotlight shining on Caitlin Clark and couldn't handle it. Instead of working harder to earn her place, she tried to tear down someone who's already proven herself time and time again. And that's what separates players like Clark from players like Carter. Clark has faced criticism, tough defenses, and hard fouls all season long, but she doesn't let it define her. She rises above it, focusing on her team and her game. Carter, on the other hand, seems more interested in petty feuds and social media clout than actually contributing on the court. To me, what's especially frustrating is that players like Carter are doing more harm than good for the league. The WNBA is finally getting the attention it deserves, thanks in no small part to players like Clark, who bring skill, charisma, and professionalism to the game. But incidents like this, they drag the league down, feeding into the tired narrative that women's basketball is somehow less disciplined or less exciting than the men's game. Carter's actions weren't just disrespectful to Clark. They were disrespectful to the league, the fans, and the sport itself. And if Carter thought she could take Clark down with a single hit, she clearly underestimated the kind of player she was dealing with. Caitlin Clark is more than just a three-point shooter. She's a leader, a competitor, and a star who's already accomplished more in her rookie season than Carter has in her entire career. And I'm sorry I've had to say this over and over again, but the fact is, while Clark's building a legacy, Carter's busy chasing relevance. Greatness will always shine through, and those who try to bring it down will only end up in the shadows. Carter is now a cautionary tale, a story of wasted potential and bad decisions. Instead of letting her game speak for itself, she let her ego and insecurities do the talking. And now, she's paying the price. Caitlin Clark will be remembered as one of the greatest players ever to play the game. Chennedy Carter? Well, she'll be remembered for trying to dim someone else's light, but in the end, all she did was ruin her own career. And that's the thing about karma. It always catches up. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Meanwhile, to see how another intriguing revenge story in Clark's first WNBA season, click on this video here. Also, kindly click on the subscribe button to be notified whenever we release new videos. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.